Hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today for this webinar on Dynamics 365. Today we'll discuss how getting customer insight and do predictive marketing using Versium Predict tool. I'm Cyril, I'm product manager at ShareWeb. I will be your host today, and we have two special guests with us, Chris Matty and Mauro Rizzi, that are both for Versium. So Versium is one of our Dynamics partners. They are well known for the job they are doing around and the tools that they are building. So really glad to have both of them today to share with us a solution that they are pushing. Before to start, some housekeeping item. There is a box for asking questions built in into the webinar software. So if you have any question, please don't hesitate. We'll answer those questions at the end of the session. Also, the webinar is being recorded. We'll send the link to you in the next 24 to 48 hours. Also, you have documentation available in the tool. So if you go under handouts, there is 3 documents, 3 PDF documents, pager from Predict, toolbox, and so on. So about the agenda of today, those guys from Versium are going to speak about the sales challenges, what is Predict, what features, what is the data behind the tool that they built, giving us some example of services, doing a quick demo, and of course, any question that you might have, we'll answer those one. So guys, I give you the mic and let you start with telling a bit more about who you are, what you are doing, and what you're going to present today. Thank you.
Thanks. It's a pleasure to be here to talk to you today about Versium Predict and the things we're doing with Dynamics to put advanced data technology and artificial intelligence predictive lead scoring into Dynamics. And more importantly, how partners who are deploying Dynamics can benefit from deploying this solution. It really starts with the sales problem. And when you consider what problems sales organizations are having, ultimately it comes down to identifying the right prospects, reaching the right prospects, and then ultimately getting the prospects to respond. And frequently this doesn't happen. Ultimately, the goal is to close as many deals as possible. And identifying the best prospects and being able to reach them most effectively is key in this journey. Predict solves a lot of these problems by putting advanced data technology and artificial intelligent predictive lead scoring directly into the CRM. And it works quite well. It's really evolutionary in terms of being able to identify the most likely prospects and effectively communicating to them. To share with you a story, I'll give you an example with some work T-Mobile has done with this capability and how we solve this problem. We start with past customer successes of who has purchased the particular product or service in the past, i.e. in the CRM, closed won versus closed lost. Contacts that have engaged with the product or service. We layer in, after a process of data hygiene, significant volumes of proprietary life data on that business target or opportunity, both the firmographic information if it's a B2B situation, but also details on the individual decision maker. The combined data set then goes into AI-based modeling technologies and algorithms to create a predictive model, which ultimately spits out a predictive score. This score is a measure of the propensity to engage with that customer. The higher the score, the more effective or the more likely that that particular target is to engage. This allows sales reps or marketing campaigns to focus on the most likely buyers of a particular product and service. The net effect of this is a significant increase in engagement or conversion rates. And in this particular case with T-Mobile, who were looking to identify small businesses that wanted to engage in their wireless services, they saw a 350% increase in customer acquisition using AI-based modeling to target who is most likely to buy. So the value prop within Microsoft Dynamics is the ability to gain access to huge volumes of data that complements what's already in the CRM. Both business and consumer insights, details on the business, everything from news to firmographics to technology stacks, as well as consumer insights for those folks who are B2C, and those same consumer insights can be layered over the business contacts to understand the nature of the business decision maker in a B2B environment. All of this combined data then goes into automated AI-based modeling that uses machine learning to build predictive models. And most importantly, with our relationship with Microsoft, we've OEM'd this into the CRM, which means every subscriber gets access to these capabilities at no additional cost. The features that are deployed within the CRM or within Predict that is launched into the CRM is the ability to search and research businesses as well as consumer targets, to cleanse the data that exists within the CRM, which is an important factor considering 30 to 40% of enterprise data within the CRM is frequently unusable, old, outdated, and so the data hygiene process allows the validation of this information that's already in the CRM. And then adding new data to the CRM, whether it be additional contact details to improve reach, or elements about the business, or attributes about the business decision maker. What are their interests? What are their characteristics, so that a relationship can be built by the sales individual. Ultimately, the goal then is to take this data set and build predictive lead scoring, where we can score the records in the CRM based upon their propensity to buy using AI modeling. That same AI modeling is also used to generate new prospect target lists by taking the data that's contained within the CRM in terms of who's bought in the past and the modeling associated with that, and score external data sets that Predict has access to through our Life Data Warehouse, and the ability to inject new prospects that have a high propensity, whether it be businesses, business decision makers, or consumers in a B2C environment. There's also news and alerts for folks who are looking to track individual companies to identify opportunities based upon what's going on in the online environment. Predict all starts with data. That's what drives the predictive accuracy of the modeling. There's over 1 trillion data attributes within Predict's Life Data Store on both the businesses in business context as well as the business professional. Things like the firmographic data, how many employees, what's the revenue account, what's the technology stack, what's the financial characteristics, what products have been purchased in the past, as well as details on the individual decision maker, who are they from a professional standpoint, what's their title, rank, and then an added value component is the consumer characteristics of who that person is as a human being. Risk takers, someone who drives a Porsche and maybe does rock climbing, might be more inclined to adopt a new technology sooner than someone who's more conservative, for example. So we have both business and consumer data, and lots of that data that goes into the AI-based modeling to predict engagement and propensity to act. Most importantly, when we look at the underlying APIs that drive all of this functionality, and you'll see a demo of this here in a moment with Mauro, is that we're exposing these APIs to system integrators and partners who are deploying Dynamics to create customized configured customized versions of Predict and new additional widgets that can be added in that drives billable hours and enhanced capabilities for clients. This ultimately gives customized access to these processing tools. An example is shown on the screen here, where one partner gained access to Versium's Predict's underlying data hygiene APIs and added a feature for address standardization at time of data entry as a widget that was a customized feature added to Predict by accessing the underlying APIs, writing to those APIs, and creating that widget as a customized feature that added value for that particular use case. And all of those APIs and access to these APIs are being made available at no cost to users of Predict that have turned that on within their CRM. So these APIs, I want to talk a little bit more about categorically what they are and what they do. So there's the data hygiene and validation APIs. This includes address standardization, email validation, business detailed confirmation in terms of contact details, addresses, phone numbers, and so on, where this data can be validated, updated, enhanced, and improved so that the latest and most accurate contact details are available within the CRM so that the sales rep can access and reach their targets most effectively. And these APIs can realize different customized features within the Predict environment. Data enrichment APIs, which give access not only to the data that is preset within the version of Predict that's turned on when it's downloaded, but many more data elements can be added based upon customized and specific needs of each individual Dynamics customer and their particular use cases, the vertical they're in, and the data that they might want to add into the CRM based upon the insights that it delivers to prospects or customers. And this includes both consumer behavioral data on the individual business decision maker, or data on the business. There is literally thousands of different types of data that can be added in a customized manner based upon the specific needs by folks who are customizing this application. And then the predictive modeling and targeting APIs, where not only is the automated modeling for lead scoring that's automatically built in, but accessing the AI and machine learning pipeline to create new prospects, to put filters on those prospects around the AI targeting that may be specific to the individual needs of the particular customer or their vertical that they're in. And again, all of this is available. The underlying APIs we're making available, exposing at no additional cost, so that these customized solutions can be realized for clients of Dynamics. And various partners are not only building awareness in the market about all these capabilities that are available in Dynamics, but system integrators and developers are writing to these APIs to customize Predict within Dynamics. So with that said, I think now is a good time to turn it over to Mauro, who's going to jump into a demonstration of Predict and show you all the wonderful features that are available to enhance the capability and data intelligence within Microsoft Dynamics.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Chris, for the introduction. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mauro Rizzi. I'm the product manager of Predict here at Versia. What I'm showing here on the screen is the dashboard of Predict. Predict is a solution that can be installed today from the Dynamics 365 Online dashboard, so you can just go and install it. As Chris mentioned, it comes at no charge for all Dynamics 365 users. So anything that you will see today here has really no cost to the end user and has unlimited usage. One of the first things that I want to show you is, first of all, how Predict is able to enrich data that customers already have within Dynamic itself. So instead of starting my demo from the Predict dashboard, I'm going to start it directly from one of the accounts that I have. This is Mark Rusinovich. It's, as you can see, data that I have in this Dynamic instance. And one of the things that you will notice here is that Predict, once it's installed in Dynamics, has two small widgets, one here on the right-hand side and one a little bit down here on the midsection of the form. Now, what has happened here is that at the moment that I've opened up this account, actually this is a contact, a live query was performed to the Versium Live Data backend to pull in the insights of Mr. Rusinovich. As you can see, there are several insights here that can be discovered, and this provides enriched experience of the data that is already contained on the CRM. This is a B2B data set, so it has information about the company and the firmographic and everything else. And the top widget here that I'm showing you provides high-level details on how the data contained within the CRM compares to the data at Versium. So in this case here, it's providing me a validation grade of an A, meaning that I have most of the data. But assuming that I did not have one of these components and I had a lower score, the user has the ability with a single click to go and update, enrich the information that is contained within the CRM. where Versium is going to provide a UI like this one, where on one side is going to show what is the data available at Versium side. On the other side is the data contained in that specific record. If there are any gaps or things missing, the users can go and click on the missing fields and import them with a single click. This feature here is available for contact, accounts, leads, and opportunities within the CRM. And if you have customers that are using a custom form, we have a help section that instructs how to include these small iframes within a custom form. But now let's return to the main Predict dashboard. Predict, once is installed, will appear on the top ribbon, with a full set of shortcuts to the main functionality. And what I'm going to show you now is, I just showed you the type of insights that were appearing within the record itself. But what happened if you have a research team that wants to go and discover additional people in order to discover insights and maybe import them into the CRM? Well, we offer a search feature right here on the top right-hand corner. One is for business and one is for people. Performing the search is very simple. You just type in the name of a company. You can put in the target country. We support over 100 countries worldwide. The phone, the city, you click search, and the first thing that you're going to will be returned is the query. This is a live query from the live data backend, and here the user can already immediately discover more information about the search that was performed, and with a single click can import this information. This is an account as a new account within Dynamics. But assuming that I still want to go and search for more information, I can click on the name, and a set of insights cards are going to appear to the user, providing additional information about the company, in this case, Microsoft. These are the same cards that I showed you that appear in the form itself. So if you were opening the record for Microsoft in your CRM, that little iframe would show you these exact insight cards. This is more from a research perspective, but gives you an idea at high level the type of attributes that we have in the live data backend that Chris mentioned earlier. Now, this functionality is also available for people, so I can go and type in the name of a business person. And again, I get a search result. I can go and discover more information about Satya Nadella. One of the nice features that Predict provides within the insights is also that you can drill in a little bit more the information that you're seeing here. For example, for Satya Nadella, we provide the organizational chart, so a graphical representation of the org chart at Microsoft in the executive level. If I go back one page where I was looking for Microsoft, the business search for Microsoft provides additional information about the company itself. So at the very top here, you would see that we provide the business financial divided with quarterly income and yearly income. We have the business structure, so this is the hierarchical chart of the representation between Microsoft and its own subsidiary. And again, this is a fully dynamic list, so I can go and click, for example, the Microsoft Montenegro, and I would obtain the insights specifically of that specific subsidiary. Going back, I have also a social section where I can go and subscribe to the main social feeds, and a news section. What is interesting about the news section is that I can subscribe to specific alerts. So I can go and filter the type of news that I wish to view, and I can create an additional alert so that I can follow that specific news in every time that there is an update. When there's an update, the user will be notified up here on the right-hand section. There's a little bell. Now it's red, meaning I have new alerts. I can go in it and see the companies that I'm following so that I can retrieve the updated news alerts. A few things that I want to show you before moving forward is again about the search. The search for people, I showed you earlier how to perform a search for a specific person in a business. But one of the powers of Predict is that you can also perform a search for a specific company. and Predict will return the employees that we have on record for that company. Not only you can target, in this case, for example, an executive in the marketing department within Boeing, and you are able to filter that. Again, all these people, you can click on them to discover the insights, or you can import them as contact or leads with a single click. One final note is regarding the search for consumer. Now, the insights for consumer are very interesting. Again, the search is very simple. I'm just going to click, this is a very common name, but just to give you an idea of the type of attributes that we have for consumers. Where in the business we have the firmographic, the employee list, the various scores that we show. Here we focus more on the consumer side. We have the demographics, the household financial, interest and activities. This is data that we detect on the back end using our own predictive algorithms. We go and look at all the attributes that we have and discover that this person is interested in sports, travel, and home improvement. And then we have the social, where we are able to detect it. This is a very common name, so the user needs to intervene and select the appropriate one. And then other scores that Predict provides for consumers. Again, as for the people search, the user has the ability to import this as a contact or a lead. And if you had this person within your CRM as a record, we would enrich that information exactly as I showed you at the very beginning of the demo. Now, this is one of the main features of Predict, the power of enabling to research, provide insights for B2B and B2C contacts. But we also support scenarios in which a marketing or a sales teams may wish to provide a bulk list validation or bulk list data enrichment. Predict offers two features that cover those scenarios. The first one is specifically, I have a list, I do not know how good the data is, and this feature is going to validate that list and provides me with information on how good is it. This is validate list. All these features that I'm going to show you are right here on the top left hand of the menu. The validate list, I can provide to Predict a list that I have already prepared within the CRM, and that list can be in the form of a marketing list, static or dynamic, or as a view. To perform a validation, the wizard starts. The user needs to walk through the wizard, and which is going to explain what the feature does and walk step by step on the various selection. Here is asking me what type of list I'm validating. I'm choosing a consumer list. I have a list here readily available. And here is going to ask me what type of tests I wish to perform on the data, what type of data fields I wish to validate within my list. Once I click Begin Validation, what's happening here is Predict is taking that list, is validating, and performing tests on all those fields that I have selected in order to provide me with a validation grade for the whole list. Now, this is going to take a good 20 minutes to complete. It's a list of about 1,000 records, but the end result is going to look something like this. There we go. The end result is going to be a chart like this one, where Predict is informing me of the average validation grade of the list right here. I have a C, and what were the top fields and their match rate, what type of validation was performed. Now, all of these validation grades have been added in each and every single record, but for those of you that like to see the raw data, we offer the ability in the Actions button to download the CSV. And the CSV is going to show me the data that I provided to Predict and all the tests that were performed and their results, which in turn will result in a validation grade So as you can see here, various records, the test that we perform is, if the postal address was found, if the address and the full name were found together, if the phone was found, if the full and full name were found together, etc. Every record is going to be marked with a score and a relative validation grade. Assuming now that the validation grade that I'm receiving is really poor, like this one here, a D, for example, right, where I really do not have a lot of data, or I'm missing a lot of data in my records. Predict offers a second feature for bulk list enrichment, and that is called Add Insights. So what this feature does is going to take the list. It's going to again ask me the type of data that I am providing, if it's a consumer or business, and here it describes me what type of data can be added for both type of data. But at least Predict requires a minimum information in those records in order to perform the match, and that is listed underneath the table. So I'm going to select I want to go and enrich a consumer list. I select the list and click Next. This is a very simple 3 steps, and off it goes. Predict, what it's doing here is passing the list to the backend. Is going to start matching every single record in that list. Is going to find all the information from the live data backend and append it into every record. And at the very end is going to offer me with a report stating what are the top fields that were matched, what is the overall validation match rate. But what's important, no record has been added unless the user makes a manual and conscious decision, because we don't go and overwrite automatically, we don't want to go and overwrite automatically the fields and the data that is in the CRM. So we need user intervention to go and perform this last operation. So now that is completed, the user has the ability to click the Add button, and is going to be presented with all the fields that can be imported. Now this is a consumer list, so I have the postal address, the phone, the email, the first and last name. I'm going to show you what the business looks like, that we have extra fields in it. But as you can see here, the UI is offering now the opportunity for the users to select how this data is going to be imported within the CRM. I can ignore it, I can add only the empty fields, or I can choose to go and overwrite all the data or part of it. And then with a couple of extra steps, the user is going to be confirmed that the data is going to be overwritten. The user will acknowledge it, click overwrite, and that data is going to be imported in bulk. Now, we like also to have and allow the ability to download the CSV to see the raw data. And this is very interesting because, as you can see, the users can import and enrich data that is usually very common: first, last name, email, phone number, and everything. And these are the vanilla fields that are already available by default within the CRM. But specifically for the consumer, we offer the ability to import a lot more information if it's available, and we provide it here into the CRM. So as you can see here, we have the various Predict score validation grades that we calculate on the back end, and we provide it to be downloaded. We have the IP address category for the users. We have the demographic category, which includes the ethnicity, the language, the occupation, the gender. And then the final part is all the lifestyle and interest, where we can go down to the household finance, the length in residence, the estimated home value, etc. All this data is available and can be imported manually by utilizing the data import feature from Dynamics. As promised, I wanted to show you a little bit how a business enrichment works. As you can see here, the data that can be imported is slightly different. We also provide the website, the SIC code, and of course the postal phone number that is related to the business. But with regards to the data that can be imported and is available from the CSV, this varies from the consumer one. As in for business, we allow to, of course, download all the business contact information, including title, first name, and last name of the highest ranking officer and the email that we find. And then where we have availability, we have the business financial category data and the business firmographic category. So now I have showed you a little bit how we enrich the data from a contact on a record-by-record basis and the type of insights that we have. I showed you here 2 features to perform data validation, data hygiene for bulk lists. The final part of the demo, I'm going to move and switch gears and talk a little bit about predictive modeling. As Chris mentioned, we offer a one-stop solution within Predict to create a predictive model by looking at the data of a previous campaign in order to understand the behavior there so that we can create a predictive model that can be therefore applied to score leads or source new leads. So let me tell you a little bit of a story that I like to share when performing a demo to put a little bit more in prospect how the data modeling works. So imagine that I was a sales representative working on a mortgage refinance company, and I was tasked to reach out to 10,000 leads to sell a new mortgage. I reach out to all of them, either by phone or email or by whatever means. But what's important is that at the end of my campaign, I will have some of these people, some of these consumers that will purchase my product. I call them success, and some others that will not purchase it. I call them unsuccess. What I now have to do is that I just run a campaign here in Seattle. I have to go and run a similar campaign in Portland, Oregon. I have a new list of leads. But since I have just run a campaign here in Seattle and I know the people that purchased and those that did not purchase my product, I would like to avail of a data science team so that I can give them my data and they can understand who or what do the converters, the people that purchase my product, have in common, so that I can target the same type of people down in Portland, Oregon, and I can be more efficient and I can have a higher conversion rate. After some deliberation, the data science team tells me that the people that purchase my product are young families that have been living in a home for less than 3 years. They have young kids, they drive a minivan, and they own a dog. It's a very stupid example, but just to give you a little bit of an idea. Now I can go and target the same type of consumers down in Portland, Oregon, because I know that the product that I am selling, it appeals more to these type of consumers. What Predict does offers the same exact capability within Dynamics using dynamic data, all by utilizing machine learning predictive AI technology that we have developed and we offer within the product itself. So to create a model, I am going to just click here the build model feature. The wizard starts is going to explain to me how it works. It tells me that I need a success and unsuccess list. I can build a predictive model for consumer using leads or contact information, or I can use it for businesses using lead accounts and contacts. Now, in order to create a valid and statistically sound predictive model, I need a lot of data. For businesses, I need at least 500 records in my success list and 1,000 in my non-success. For consumer, I need 1,000 and 3,000 respectively. I click build a model. The wizard starts. It's going to ask me, as we saw in the previous wizards, if I am creating a model for a consumer or a business. And once I provided both the success and non-success list and the name of the list, the predictive modeling engine is going to start working and create the predictive model. Now, the way it's going to work is that all the data from a success and non-success list is going to be taken by Predict. It's going to match every single record with the live data attributes that we have. It's going to append thousands of attributes to every single record. And once that process is completed, the machine learning and predictive AI technology is going to kick in and going to start looking at patterns and find reoccurrences and weighing them. At the very end, the model is validated and then is provided back to the user in the form of a chart that you can see here. The way that we perform a validation is that at the very beginning of the process of generating a model, of all the records that are given and passed to predict between success and non-success, 30% randomly are taken out and set aside in a temporary storage. Predict creates the model using the remaining 70%, and once that is completed, we test the validity of the model and we try to predict the people from the 30% that we set aside. We know who the converters or the success people were in that list. If our model is able to pinpoint them and score them in the appropriate way, we know that we have a good model, and we finalize the process and save it back for the user. If we don't have a good model, we just reiterate it with our algorithms until we do find a good model to finalize. The end result is a chart like this. This is telling me that if I take this model and I score the list of leads, those leads that score from 60 and above are those that are likely to purchase my product, are those that are likely to convert. Now, we offer a lot of more information in here that people can go and discover. I can go and play a little bit with the scores and find what is the projected captured converters. I can compare it to a previous campaign. We also offer, for those that like data science and predictive modeling, the ROC curve, the lift chart, the cumulative gains chart. So these can also be utilized to understand a little bit of the model that was created. But now comes the fun part. Now I have a model that I just created from my Seattle mortgage campaign. I have a new list of leads now in Portland, Oregon. What I can do is I can apply my model to score the leads from Portland, Oregon, and find those that are likely to convert. To do that, we offer this feature called Score Leads, where the wizard is going to ask me very simply what is the list of leads that I wish to go and target that I have prepared earlier in my CRM instance. I can go and select what is the predictive model that I'm going to be using to score those leads, and off it goes. Here there's a checkbox stating that all the scores are going to be added for every single record within the CRM. So in the CRM form, we have a small field where we show what is the model that was used to score that specific lead or contact. And I click Begin Scoring. So what's happening here is I have given a list to predict. Predict is matching every single record with the live data, appending these 1,000 of attributes. And then the model is going to come into play and is going to start looking at all these attributes and pick out those leads that match the behavior that I had created earlier and score them accordingly. The end result is going to be a chart like this one, where it's going to show me how the scores within that list I provided are distributed. Here it's telling me that my list had 985 records. If I choose, I remember 60 and above, at that point right here I have a summary saying if I choose to target only those leads that score from 60 and above, I'm going to be using only 294 out of 985 with a projected conversion rate of 4.12. Now again, as I mentioned, all those scores have been added into the CRM, but I can always go and download the raw data from the CSV file where I'm presented with the data that was passed to predict, and their scores right here in this column. Now, I have been good in selling the mortgages in Seattle and in Portland, Oregon, that my manager comes to me and says, hey, Mauro, you now have to go and sell your mortgage package in Montana. But I do not have any leads in Montana. So I need to go and find or purchase a list and go and, target those leads in order to proceed with my campaign. Well, since Versium has a lot of data on the back end, we have included a very peculiar and important feature within Predict, which is the ability to create, find those leads, in my case in Montana, match them against my predictive model, and save them as a brand new list within the CRM. To do that, we have this feature called Create List, where Predict is going to ask me what type of data I am going to I want to go and source and prospect. I'm going to have a consumer data. What is the model that I wish to go and utilize? It's going to be my mortgage model. And now here, Predict is asking me the geographical boundaries in which I want to go and prospect these new leads, right? So I said that I wanted to do this in Montana. So I'm going to click that. And I have 565,000 that I can go and prospect. I click the next step. It's going to ask me what is the name of the list that I'm going to be generating, what type of data I would like to prospect and save within my list. I can choose part or all of them if I wish. And finally, what is the list size? I'm going to want to start with 2,000 leads. In here, I also have custom optional filters that I can go and use in order to focus even further the prospecting process that I'm going to be performing. Now, this is a consumer list generation. For the business, for the B2B, these optional filters change, and there's a couple that are very powerful. One, which is I've seen it had a lot of success with our customers, is the possibility to add the SIC code. For example, I want to go and prospect specific businesses that work in a specific industry type. I can go and put in the SIC codes, and the list that is going to be generated is going to contain only those specific companies. Here I'm going to click Next Step. I have the summary with the checkbox here, Add to CRM, meaning that all these leads are going to be added into the CRM under that list name that I have created. Click Begin Creating List, and off it goes. So what's happening here is all these data and the parameters and the predictive model is passed to Predict. Predict is going on the live data backend on Montana, looking at the consumers, prospecting those out, scoring them using my predictive model, and saving 2,000 of them into Dynamics. The end result is going to be something like this, where it's going to show me a chart with a representation of the scores contained in the new list. Here's telling me, hey, I have prospected leads in Idaho. This was a previous demo. 2,000 of them. Of all those 2,000, we have an average score. They range a score between 71 and 100 with an average score of 85. We expect a conversion rate of approximately 33% if you use this list. Again, that list has been added into the CRM, but I can go and download the CSV. And as you can see here, there's a brand new list of consumers with their phone number, address, and first and last name, and the relative score that has been assigned to them based on the model. Now, this concludes my demo for the current Predict solution, but I wanted to give you a sneak peek on what is coming. One of the main problems, not a main problem, but let's say one of the main requirements that Predict needs in order to create and utilize the Create List feature, this last one that I just showed you, is the fact that you need to create a predictive model in order to go and then target a specific area and prospect these new leads. The issue is that you need to have a lot of data in order to create a predictive model. As you recall, from the beginning of the wizard, I needed, at least 500 or 1,000 records as a minimum for the businesses and 1,000 and 3,000 for consumers. So what we're doing in order to help those small and medium businesses that may not have these amount of records, What we're doing at Versim is that we are generating models based on the various categories and inputs that we are receiving from our customers. And using those models, we are creating targeted vertical lists of people or business people. And we will be soon offering this feature within Predict. So we give the ability to download a targeted list. So what I'm showing you here, I just switched gears a little bit. I'm showing you a development version of Predict that we're currently finalizing. This is, again, the create list feature where you can go and create a new list with a predictive model, just as I showed you. But now the UI is going to offer the possibility to create a list from targeted list. And how this is going to work is that the user is just going to click on create from a targeted list, is going to be asked to what type of data we're offering for the businesses for the moment only. And here you have a list of vertical business people that can be downloaded. So we offer, as you can see, the HR decision maker, IT decision maker, marketer, sales, and we have many other more that are currently under development that are going to be added in here. The user here, for example, can choose, to download the IT decision makers, add the various geographical boundaries, or select a specific industry type or target, the number of employees. And once that is selected, at that point, a brand new list of leads of that specific vertical is going to be downloaded and made available for the end customer without the use of a predictive model. Now, this concludes my presentation, and I think that we're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Hey, Mauro, thank you very much. We got a lot of questions, so I'm going to combine some of them because to don't be redundant. Question came often. You are showing USA data all the time. So is it working with Canadian and other countries?
So that's an excellent question. So we Predict supports data from about over 100 countries. So if you go into the various features, for example, when I was searching for people or searching for businesses, there is a country in there, and those are the countries that we're supporting. However, we are also complying with local rules and regulation, meaning that there are countries for which we may not have the richness of data as US or Canada, or countries where we are unable to show data. So the answer is yes, we're supporting, and but the issue here, or not the issue, but the specifics is that the richness of the data may be different between each country. An example is Europe. Europe, in the next year, we need to be compliant for GDPR. So as of today, you are able to search for business people and consumer in Europe, but starting with GDPR, so earlier next year, we're going to start removing that capability for the European Union compliance.
Okay. One of the questions during the demo, you're using like big companies such as Microsoft and Boeing. So one of the questions is that how it's going to work for a smaller business that is less visible on internet.
Absolutely. You do have it. However, it's not going to have the richness of data right there. So here I made a search for La Spiga, which is one of my favorite Italian restaurants in Seattle. This is a very small company because it's a restaurant, and as you can see, it's pulling up the data, but it does not have all the data that, for example, a corporation would have, right? So I'm not having the business financial or the business structure because that is completely empty, but we do have the business information, the firmographic, and everything else.
Okay. So one person was asking, is it the same insight solution that is already available in CRM? I believe this person is speaking about Inside View.
So that's an excellent question.
Yeah.
We definitely provide similar solutions. The differences are that Inside View is available only in US and Canada. We're available in over 100 countries. InsightView provides only business data. We provide it both for B2B and B2C. In addition, we provide the bulk list features of data hygiene and data enrichment, which InsightView does not. And we provide the whole predictive modeling, lead scoring, and lead generation, which InsightView does not.
Okay. Another question, I think you get these things all the time. First part is, where do you get your data? And how often do you update it? Second part is, how do you connect with social such as Facebook and LinkedIn?
So that's the next. Yes.
Mauro, I'll go ahead and jump in and take that question. So there are, as we say, large volumes of data sitting underneath the applications, some 9,600 files. Some of the data is acquired via online mechanisms, some are offline. Versium buys a lot of data, so it's commercially available, and then 2/3 of the data we source using our own technologies, whether we're downloading data sets that are available in the public domain, whether we're using search engine technologies to identify websites and pull down data from those environments. So lots of volumes of data, and they come in at different schedules in terms of updates. Some data is pulled in on a daily basis in real time. Others are updated weekly, monthly, and quarterly, depending on the category of information and how frequently it changes.
Okay. Okay. In terms of the social things, I think you have a functionality where you can follow Facebook, follow LinkedIn, these kind of things, right?
That is correct. That is available within the Insights. We have a social tab where users can go and discover information and subscribe to a specific course feed from Facebook or Twitter. Or if we do have a link, for example, here I remember showing you the example of targeting executive in marketing in the marketing department at Boeing. As you can see here, we also have a LinkedIn icon on some of these results, meaning that we have the link to their LinkedIn page.
Okay. We got like 2 of the attendees. They really love the idea of matching and adding data, you know, the adding data features. One of this person was asking if there is a way to keep the original data that you have in your system and the revised data, just in case.
Absolutely.
Or are you going to overwrite?
So what happens is that, you know, when you are at the very end of the wizard, for example, on adding insights, the wizard is going to add, there's a checkbox there at the very end saying if you would like to add that information in the CRM or not, or in the specific of the add insights, we do not add any information. So it's the user that needs to go and click that add button. So what it means is that the original data is kept in the CRM until the user goes and performs the bulk operation. If the user does not perform that bulk operation, they can always download the CSV so that they can view what is the difference between the original data and the one that was provided by Predict.
Okay. One of the questions was, would you recommend using the company LinkedIn or Facebook account, or going with just an individual account?
I'm not really sure I understand the question.
I think it's maybe in terms of the following. I will see that in this way. So, for example, if you follow, I don't know, the owner of ShareWeb, maybe more relevant to follow ShareWeb than the owner on the social. But that's something we can take offline.
So that is really different. I mean, if I am, I have a record that is an account, for example, like Microsoft, I have the ability to subscribe to Microsoft's main social feeds in Facebook or Twitter. But if I'm following Satya Nadella in Microsoft, then I have the ability to follow his own social feeds, which are different from the one from Microsoft.
In terms of pricing, so the question is, how do you price it? Is it only for Dynamics Online? Is it only for Dynamics users?
All that I've shown you here today on Predict comes free. There is no cost. So what's happening here is that we have an OEM deal with Microsoft. So Microsoft is paying for all of this so that Dynamics 365 online users can utilize it at no cost. However, the solution Predict is only for Dynamics 365 online. So it is not available on premises and it's not available outside. Outside we have a completely different product that Versium has. Is called datafinder.com, but that does not integrate with a CRM. It's an online service tool where users can go and upload tables and perform these type of operation on a record cost.
Okay, that's good. We still got other questions, but we're running out of time. So guys, leave your name if you want me to contact you back and connect you with Versium. I think we're just going to close on that, unless you want to, unless you have something else to say.
Well, just to close, thank you so much for the opportunity. If anybody has any questions or require a follow-up, would like to see a more in-depth demo. I mean, I just went very quickly on the main features, but there are other features here that I just wasn't able to show in this venue, like all the admin features or how to install it. Please feel free to reach out to us, directly. We can organize a separate session and, drill down into any demo or any scenarios that they have.
Yeah, that's great. And like I was saying earlier, part of our mission in ShareWeb is really leveraging our partner. Versium is one of our. They have this great solution, so that's the reason of this webinar. So if you want to contact them, just give us a sign. We can go deeper. Again, you had some pages on the webinar that you can download. So really feel free to contact us and we can connect you. So to finish with that, thank you very much everyone to join us, and feel free to let us know if you have any question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and have a great day. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Bye-bye.